D's for Danger. We're back here, guys, live on the show. This is Drew Danger here. We are the Knights of the Dragon, the KOD representing. We've got our team here, guys, our Rangers. We've got Brother Angel, Brother Rician, Lightning Lady Sister Laura as our guest. Everyone's here. Everyone's representing. You know what time it is. It's morphin' time.
Always.
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 That's right. Communicators on the way. Amazon tracking.
Let the knights speak.
All right, let's do it. Hey,
All right.
You got it, girl. Go ahead, Angel. What are we doing?
All right, so this is our first show, and so the reason that we came together is that we're three friends, and we met on the Henry Resilient channel. We're always contributors. We're always letting our minds speak, but we also know that there is more to the fandom than just us three. So we definitely want to showcase the best and the brightest, but also the regulars, because we all make up the fandom. We are the ones that go out to see the Rangers at cons. We are the ones that support the show. We are all special in our own way. And so we want to make sure that not just your most well-known, like Henry Resilient, the Answer 06, or even Drew Danger is showcased all the time. We want to make sure that you're also heard, you're also known, and we want your stories out there. So Drew brought in an amazing individual, Laura, who wants to tell her story, who wants to share her message, and we're definitely going to go ahead and get that out there for her, okay? And so because we're a new show, we want you to get to know us just as much as we get to know you. And so we'll just go ahead and have Drew start it up, and go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, Drew.
Okay, I'm Drew Danger. As you guys all know, I'm originally from Southern California. I am a martial artist, study different arts, JKD, Wing Chun Kung Fu, Kempo, Muay Thai kickboxing, brief touches with the Keto, Tong Sudo, Taekwondo, too many to even name. I'm not going to get into all that. But I've kind of been around a little bit. I've been a Power Ranger fan since they first came out. I was there when the whole craziness happened. And it really kind of just shook the world and changed my life, at the time. I love doing it, like hearing from you guys, like reaching out, like talking Power Rangers, love talking comic books and science fiction and action movies, and of course, martial arts. So that's about me. Any other questions, you guys just let me know by sending me some questions and asking. I'm always cool with that. So thanks, guys.
Rician, go ahead. Go ahead and let us know a little bit about you.
Yeah. You already know. Rician Ranger, riser than the jetty, always. Thanks for coming through, guys. I basically just wanted to open the bar tonight with the Resilient Rangers and everybody that I've been able to kind of chill with and be on the channel. Shout to Henry. We're kind of doing a little spin-off, so that way it's almost like Resilient After Dark. You know what I mean? Like, you're a fan of the KOD or just the fandom, not just Henry, but within the Ranger community everywhere. I've never seen so many people nerd out on Rangers in a concentrated area like that, having a good old time. So, it was something that, Rangers is not always cool with everybody. And it's a brand that needs work. It needs help. It's got a lot of fans. It's kind of in a crossroads right now, and I'm tired of it. You know what I mean? I think it's important for kids to have real Rangers and, to help save the age gap going on, save the brand. And there's a lot to get into where we just needed another show. We all get along. We're all like-minded. We wanted to throw intellects around about the brand and kind of chop up, bring guests. And we got Laura here. Jude and her been talking a lot. She has a great story. Testimony for you guys. We're kind of all centered around with the Mean Green team. We kind of all got such a love for JDF that it comes out of us in everything we do. So, the Dragon thing is a representation of our hearts and kind of honoring the big man and knowing that when we're moving out here, he kind of is looking down and saying, all right, guys, it's always morphin' time with y'all and we're chilling. So that's my motivation. Y'all know me. I'm never scared to have a conversation, sit down, have a heart and a soul first, and really be a ranger. That's what this is about. You know, not to be corny, but it's how we keep each other straight. So with that being said, I won't take up too much time. I'm the Rician Ranger, rising in Jetty everywhere. Double Dragon Comics. Got a ton going on. Shout out to everybody helping with the movie, picking armors, getting into the AI realm, maybe getting into some computer generated stuff, man. And hey, as many people that can come with me, you know, the grid is big enough for all of us. So with that being said, I mean, Angel, what's the next segment? I mean, I'm good, man. You guys can DM me anytime. Rician Ranger everywhere. I got music on the way, you know, baby steps. There's a lot going on, but
so just a little bit about myself before we go on to the next segment. So my name is Angel, also known as Angel Pest. So you know, just a little bit about myself. I am from Los Angeles, born and raised here, haven't left. And a little bit about me, you know, my favorite season, I would say, is actually not a Power Ranger season. It's actually Super Sentai. I'm more of a Super Sentai Kamen Rider fan, and that would be Shinkenger. So if you ever have a chance to see it, it is great. Definitely, it is a kids show, but they treated very, very much for adults. A lot of adult humor, a lot of adult storylines that will go over kids' heads. But when you're watching it as an adult, it just keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it's a great season. And my favorite Ranger is obviously Jason David Frank. You know, got both of the helmets on here, and yeah, I guess I would say he's one of my favorite ones just because, you know, even in the comics and in the show, he wasn't chosen by Zordon. Like he was the one that was the one that wasn't handpicked, and so there were times when he didn't feel as worthy as he could and could be part of the team. And so that's something that always resonated with me, made him my favorite Ranger. And so that's just a little bit about myself. But yeah, we'll get to Laura in a little bit and share her amazing story. But for now, we'll go ahead and go off to our first topic, which is Keep It Frank. And so just going off of a little bit what I was talking about, how did JDF touch your life? So, for instance, with me, I was able to meet JDF in 2018 in Power Morphicon. And I'm going to be honest, I was there Saturday, and all I could afford was that one day. I was living paycheck to paycheck, and it was my only opportunity, sadly, in life. And at the moment, that's what I thought. My only opportunity to meet JDF, I want to take advantage. I was literally in line from sunup to sundown because he was signing autographs for everyone. And what was making it long with Power Morphicon is he was such a popular person that all the other Rangers, all the other actors were cutting the line to go straight up to him, and he's trying his best to like keep his composure, trying to have like personal conversations with people, trying to get to his panel, and all the whole time he was just thinking about the fans. And I thought that was amazing. And so the whole time, me and my buddies and some guys that I met up with that day, we were in front of kind of the pews so he can hear everything that we were saying. And so we felt so bad for him that we were just cracking jokes, and they were just like the funniest, like locker room type of jokes. And I just remember he was trying hard not to crack up. He was trying hard not to crack up, and we were saying some out of the line stuff. And finally, when we got up to the line, he called us the Jokers, and he really appreciated that we were keeping the line entertained. He really appreciated that that we were trying to make him laugh, and that'll be a memory that I always carry around about JDF and why I love the character of Tommy so much. And with that, Rician, go ahead and you can share your story.
Well, Laura can go. We can skip me.
Okay.
You can go first, Laura.
Mm-hmm.
Tell your JDF story, I guess, your JDF experience from going around the horn. So, We'll let you go next. I'll go after you.
Unfortunately, I never got a chance to meet him. But I did go in March down to Houston. And I met him at his grave, I guess.
You went to his actual grave?
Yes.
Wow.
I
didn't do that.
I left some items for him. I made him a rosary and I left it there. And it's funny because I just saw pictures from another fan who had just went down there, and that rosary is still there.
Oh, so fans are able to go down there. Okay, so like just I'm sure people probably have questions. So so what was the way that you found his grave? Were you like able to go to the office and just be like, hey, I'm looking for JDF, or how did you do it?
No, actually, I don't know how I got his online find a grave thing. Someone sent it to me because I know that I liked him so much.
Okay.
And so, it's a whole story. So I was emailing back and forth with Tammy. Long story. And she called me one day, so I do have her number. She called me one day, and she was going to, for the people involved in the JDF Be a Legend Foundation, she was going to have a shindig at her house. So she asked me if I could fly down there, and it was supposed to be March 8th. And so I went. At first, I told her I'm not sure I could make that. That's like, I've never flown before. I don't know. But I later got back to her and told her I could. I said, where in Texas? And so the place that they lived was called Humble, Texas. So it's like right outside of Houston. It's like a suburb of Houston. And so the hotel that I stayed in was in Humble, Texas, which is, I didn't plan this, but it was 8 miles from the cemetery that Jason buried. And so, yeah, so she got sick, couldn't make it, but I still went down there. And so I found his grave, and yeah, it's just a very simple, beautiful, it was a beautiful experience.
That's cool. I'm glad you had that kind of experience, and that's awesome that people are able to find the grave, leave their little sentiments, and that's awesome. Thank you for telling us that. Okay, go ahead, Rician.
He's on mute.
Rician, you're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I moved my mic. It didn't matter. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You okay now? It's coming in.
Yeah, we're good. We're perfect. Yeah.
That's your story, buddy.
Saying Tammy on speed dial. I was just making an armor for Tammy the other day. So,
you what? I can't hear you.
I said I was just making an armor for Tammy the other day. That's awesome that you got her on speed dial like that. I thought that was really cool. So
yeah, I could try and call her. I haven't talked to her since March, so I don't know.
Well, I know she's pushing the mental health stuff, and she's really doing the JDF Be a Legend thing. So, that's really cool. I think that's where we can kind of link with her and kind of push that and to help the big man, So I dig all that.
Definitely, it's important that that people acknowledge when they need help, and we definitely want people to be safe, and in case of anything, we want people to know that you're not alone, even if you think that that you're the only person, that no one understands you. I promise you there's somebody out there that will help you.
Awesome.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about your experience with JDF, Rician.
Well, mine was crazy because mine happened on accident too. Like, I was kind of going through a bad breakup at the time, and like I said, I was going back and forth between Pennsylvania and New England. I had family on my mother's side up here, So I had a cousin who was super into action figures and stuff like that. So after the pandemic happened, we got into some money, kind of like Jailosaur style, you know what I mean? They were giving out money left and right. And I started buying collectibles, and I wound up getting into a kind of thrift shop that didn't have toys and stuff like that. And long story short, we had a quick partnership with them. It fell through. And then I started, going to Comic Cons collecting stuff, and JDF was in town, and I just happened to stumble across him because my cousin gave me a dragon dagger, and like, JDF's in town, you got to go get that signed. And then, it wound up being he was in this location that was pretty much close to it, like maybe a month later. So I said, screw it, we'll go again, get more stuff signed. I wanted to get as much as I could just to kind of hold it and see where it would resell at. And, I had no idea that he would actually, self-delete and not be with us anymore like that. So, like, I knew it was cool to meet such a legend like that. He was definitely my favorite Power Ranger. So, I jumped at the opportunity when I saw the Dragon Dagger, and then for him to be gone 5 months later and to go back and see the picture, and he signed everything on the table for us free of charge. I've told this story a bunch of times. Like, he was just, I've never seen nobody do that, and I've been in the con game. I've seen people, no one's run the table like that. So when I seen him and did the research on him and started looking into Henry after he died, it was like, man, like, he really built this shit. So, like, to me, that's why I go so hard in the court and on the chat and on the show. He's not here anymore, and he was the best. So it's like, we got to do something. We got to talk about it. So my experience with him was like, damn, man, the best Power Ranger's gone. If we don't do something, no one does it like him. So, can the fans really step up and say, hey, this is the blueprint? Can you guys just at least act like this? We lost the big guy for it. And then, mental health is important. So let's talk about that too. So, you know what I mean? I kind of forgot what the topic was, but the JDF experience to me, he's all over it. He's the show. Everyone puts the green on. Like, his spirit, I feel like, of his character is what not only Tommy Oliver, but he was kind of Tommy in real life too. And when, like, when I was such an idiot, I wrote the Rising and Jetty on a Post-it note, and I handed it to him to laugh because I wanted the name to him to see it and visualize it, and it sparked the conversation. He was a good dude. The regular celebrity wouldn't sit there and go and tell you a story. Oh, Hasbro, what a bunch of assholes, you know what I mean? Or we're just helmet heads, you know what I mean? And he went in. So he knew what he was talking about, and he talked about Draken and all this other stuff and fighting with them. So he was Saban's like good boy. When Saban wanted to make some money, they went to him. So that was cool of him to share that with us. So I felt like I needed to step up and like do something about him being gone and just watch the brand just wither and die. You know what I mean? So, and at that time I was depressed. I was on anxiety meds, going through a breakup, back and forth with my kids between states. So my mental health and just being a man, the world don't give a damn unless you're providing something as a man. That's something we struggle with. And so I want this to be a platform for people like you and everyone else to come on. And if you got to talk about something, just come on and talk about it with everybody, And then we look at how JDF went out. We want to prevent people from feeling like that's what they got to do, because I really think he just swam out too far, and the current got him while he was kind of just wallowing in his sorrow, and that happens too. People can accidentally delete themselves too. So I don't think his heart was truly meant for him to leave us the way he did. So to not do something to honor him is like, all right, well, I don't Power Rangers without that, what would I really would have clung to, you know what I mean? So it would have definitely been a void in my life. So we got to do something. So I'm here for the movie too. I want to see who's really down. I love people's fresh ideas, different places, influences, stuff like that. So, what did JDF do for you? That's really it.
That's awesome. Thanks, Ricky. And then Drew, I know you have an amazing JDF story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I knew him because we had been around each other a couple times, but the last time I saw him was in August, what was that? 2 to 3 months before everything went down, because it was, late August. So, unfortunately. And when I saw him, by that time, the divorce papers had been served at the convention. All that had already happened, right? So when I saw him, he was, he was Jason and stuff, but there was a sad side to him, that was really known. Like he was, he was doing his thing and, doing the autographs and hey, everybody and all that. But there was a very, 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 I don't want to say dark, but it was more, where do I go from here kind of look that came out of Jason. He was, like I said, he was gracious. He signed whatever, he talked to you about whatever. He was all on board for it. He was all for it. But you could just see that, life had really weathered this guy down. Like it was taking its toll on him when I saw him last. And we got talking and everything, and I got him to just kind of just laugh and talk about good things. But the thing that really kicked up the conversation, besides my own health nonsense, which he of course was asking and wanted to check out, but outside of that, we started talking martial arts, and I told him, I said, listen, there are two prime fighters that I have seen in many, many years. And I said, George St. Pierre and you, I said, are the two guys. And he smiled and he said, you know what? I was just talking to Chuck Norris about this, a couple weeks ago or so. And we were talking about it. And we were talking about George and where I rank and what Chuck thought about it. Because he was very close to Chuck Norris. And they both live in Texas. So, and we started talking about that, and he really was like invested and interested. Like, it was like, hey guys, I'm signing autograph. Yeah, it's me, Tommy, typical thing, right? But then in that moment, what I'm saying is he wasn't Tommy Oliver. He wasn't JDF. He was just Jason. You see, he became Jason at that moment. And then he paused when we were talking and he was like, well, and he went like that. And something set off in me and went, I think I should, well, you know what? He's got this huge line. All these people are here. I don't want to take him away from that. I know he's probably booked, the entire day. And that was probably my mistake, as I would say, because it was, in my opinion, I would say it was a cry for help. Mm-hmm. Silently. Done very clever, but it was a cry for help, And, you guys know about well, not everybody knows, but he did a video for me, on my own, because even though I was cool at JDF, I paid for, the autograph and everything. And, I was like, hey, we do autograph, sign my morpher, do a picture. How much is that? And he was like, oh man, it's whatever it is, here you go, and I'm gonna have Font sign it, after, we talked to him and, really make it a thing. And that's when I told him, I said, yeah, man, I got to go into chemotherapy, do a stem cell transplant with it, here in November, so just a few months away. And he was just like, man, he just dropped down and he was just like, he's like, Drew, give me your phone. He said, you got a phone? Let me see. I didn't know what he was going to do. I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, here's the phone, and he immediately took the phone and he recorded that video. And what he said was, he said, hey guys, just sign the morpher for Drew right here. He's like, he's going through some things. He's like, but, we're all going to pray for him. It's going to be good. You're going to be fine, buddy. Is what he said. And, he puts me in the camera with Luke right there. So, we're all there. So it was good. And when I walked up to him, he's like, hey, Drew, what's up? He's like, I'm going to sign your shirt. He said, I'm going to sign
shirt?
Your hat. Yeah, this is the one.
Nice.
So he just started signing everything on me, and I was like, "Oh shoot!" He just came over with the pen.
I mean, he would just give free signatures like it was nothing, bro.
Yeah, he just started tagging up, and
that's why Brent would be tripping, because he really was like that.
Yeah, he tagged up everything, and he was glad and gracious to do it in such a loving way. But the thing about JDF was, like I said, there was that thing that hung over his head. And the reason I say that too, guys, is his last interview, one of his last interviews, you guys saw it, it's on YouTube. There was a guy that wanted to talk to him about mental health. I don't know if you guys saw this, and he did the video. And after the convention, Jason got with him in a room and set up the camera and had a notebook and everything and went into great detail about mental health and help and decisions, different things. He hit the whole thing right there. And I was like, I'm an idiot. I was like, I should have told Rebecca to come back to the convention. We should have gone back to the convention center and told her to get Luke some ice cream, because they had ice cream stuff over there, and they could have just hung out. And I should have just, at the end of the convention, I should have just spent time with him, because I think it would have made a difference to him, because when he died, they said that he called several people and nobody picked up. You see? So somewhere in there, maybe something I could have said, the reach out, he could have called me, knowing I wouldn't have had a problem, because I was in the hospital getting set up for chemo at the time. And then the day I started chemo was when it was official that he had died. That's what happened. So
those voices, That's
yeah.
So that's what we're here to fight against,
Yeah. Now that's the thing about it. That's my my JDF story. And Font, real quick, was right across from him. So they were right across from each other. So you went here to see Jason, you went right across to see Jason Font. And they were both fantastic and both loved each other very much. And they did photo ops together that day and everything. And really just a joy to be around both those guys. And, I just really, I feel really awful, because he helped so many people. Like, that was his thing, right? He helped people. He did for people, no matter what was going on, right? And then when he needed something, he was too ashamed to ask, And also, nobody came in and really volunteered their time, if you think about it. Nobody came in and was like, man, I was checking, I was doing. You don't hear that. Oh, he's good. He's running around. That's what you hear. Nobody stopped and was like, hey, wait a minute. Let's spend some time with Jason. Even if he says, yeah, I'm cool. No, sit with him anyway. Get him talking, seeing what's going on. Because that's how you do it, right? Nobody took out the time for that. You see all these people that knew him from Texas.
The biggest hearts suffer the most. We know that too.
Yeah. You see all these people, but they never say that they sit down with him. Did they look him in the eye? Did they, hey man, let's spend some time? Because not only that, you also have to think about his brother and his mom. And see, that's why he dropped his head. Because what did his mom die of?
Cancer.
It's almost like a curse over his family.
Cervical cancer.
Yeah, his brother's died of cervical cancer, and right. And then when I told him, hey Jason, I got to go and do chemotherapy. I didn't have cancer. I had it before, but that's another story. But I was doing chemotherapy for the MS project because there was no other options for me, right? But the fact that I had to do chemotherapy, and it was the highest level of chemo they can humanly give you without killing you, which is beyond what they give cancer patients, and they give it to you in one go. They don't split it up like they do for cancer patients either. They gave it to me one day, one go. So they weren't expecting you to survive. That's one thing I didn't tell you guys was I had to test my body. I had to do a lot of treadmill running. I had to do a lot of breathing, different training techniques that they make you do before they even consider you for the project. They have to sign off on all that long list to even put you in the program to get you to even get that far.
Right.
See, that was the thing. So they weren't, I was top prime condition, but because of the MS, they weren't expecting me to do as well or survive. I survived it, but then I almost died from getting septic shock. So that was the thing. So JDF, when he heard chemo, I saw in his face, mom, brother, you see?
Yeah.
And immediately, that's why he was like, oh, man, like, he felt it. So Jason felt so much. So many people. And really pour his heart out in the open area. But when he needed some of that, well, nobody really came.
That's what I also noticed at Morphicon 2018, because like I said, it took him forever to get to me. One day I'll have to post a photo.
Yeah.
But I just noticed that he was trying to sign as many people as possible, try to get to as many interactions as possible, thinking of others before himself. And then, other Ranger actors, other actors, they just cut the line, like went straight up to him, and I could tell like he could just be like, hey man, like I gotta get through all these people, like it like I felt terrible because, and that's kind of part of the reason why I was joking around so much that he could laugh, was just because I could tell that he wasn't having a good time, and I just wanted him to at least laugh a little bit, the same thing, like literally I was there maybe like an hour before the con closed. Like I didn't get to meet him until like an hour before he closed, and I could tell like he was just really happy about them. Like even the little things we did, like telling the jokes, like Power Rangers kept cutting the line, and once I was just like, I shared a bathroom stall with Jason David Frank. Can I cut the line too?
Yeah.
I was like, we shared a urinal together. Can I cut the line? Right. And like he heard it, he loved those kinds of jokes, and he was just like, he was dying not to laugh. He wanted to laugh so hard. Like one of my buddies,
he was a prankster for sure.
Took it farther. Like with my urinal, he's all like, Jason David Frank has a tattoo of the dragon dagger, and it's real life to size. So it was like he was dying to laugh. And finally, when we got up there, he was just like, oh, it's the Jokers. Okay, guys. He's all like, thank you guys so much. And he just like, he finally let out the laughter that he wanted. But I could tell the same thing, Drew. It's just that a lot of people asked of him, a lot of people wanted of him. And like, I feel like he didn't do it. He was just the kind of person that was just like, all right, like Steve Cardenas, for instance, with the whole TMZ debacle, where he was just like, Steve, I got it. Let me call my people. And then all of a sudden there was the recant of TMZ. He was that guy you went to for favors. He didn't know how to ask for a favor himself.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing. He never he never wanted anything from anybody else. He did for everybody, but in those moments he needed someone to have that with. He needed some people around him that legitimately wanted to be that. And he didn't know how to ask, but then people didn't know how to offer. People, let me be more specific with that. People don't even want to sometimes venture down there. Let's just get to it. I see people run out of the door faster than sometimes asking people about that.
Thanks.
When I was in the hospital,
it's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. Really I called people. I said, hey, man, drop by if you can. And people did come, but there were so many people that did not come. You see, my own sisters didn't even show up when I was in the hospital. And I lived there for like 6.5 weeks. Never to go home,
Well, I mean, what can we really aim? What can we aim the fan base at as a collective consciousness to keep people focused on that and not all the dark stuff and self-deletion and the voices and all the nonsense? Like, I think if we do that,
why we're having Laura in is so that she can tell her story, number one.
Yeah.
And we want people to know your story too, because there are stories. It's very hard to ask for somebody. I definitely know that. I recently reached out to Drew, and Drew I haven't known for too long, and I told him, hey Drew, I'm having some health issues. I want to be a better person. I want to be closer to my wife. I want to be more into my relationship. I want help. But it took forever to reach out to Drew, because it is a little hard to admit when you are alone, when you feel alone, even though you're not alone, you do feel alone, but you just have to reach out to that person that you trust the most. We promise we don't judge. We want the best for you. And even Drew, as little as he knew me, took about like a 2 hour conversation with me to tell me about his marriage, about his life, about his story, how I can change my life for the better, you know. And I aim to be like Drew. Like Drew is my focus, like I said, for for how I want to move forward, how I want to be healthier. Number one, number two, be a little bit more spiritually available and a little bit wiser. And I definitely want to impart that with everybody. That yes, I know it's difficult. It took me, I want to say, a good 3 weeks to finally talk to a person about it, and it took me just as long to talk to Drew about it because I want to be better at my marriage. I want to be healthier. I want to do all these things, like I said, and just like the Power Rangers, it is a team effort. We're not doing this alone. Tommy, that's one of the things I said. Tommy was not chosen by Zordon. He was not one of the teammates that Zordon thought was going to be great as a team. He was by Rita, literally the opposite, who wanted to use him for evil. And he thought, even in the Boom comic, I love that they brought it up. He was like, I'm not worthy of these powers. I'm not worthy of being part of this team. I'm not Team Zordon, you know. I'm Tommy. I'm a good fighter, but that's about it. I'm angry. I'm impulsive. I'm this and that. And Zordon's like, no, you're worthy because you're unworthy. That's the way I see it, you know. And I love the Lord Draken series because it really showed you've got the Green Ranger and you got the White Ranger, you got the Way to the Light, and then you've got Draken. You know, easily you can go the other way, and that's just not the case. We want people to be good. We want people to live like JDF did by the example that he did, and that's what the Knights of the Dragon is. We want people to feel empowered. We want people to know their story, and we want you around. We're all a collective. We're all in this viewing globe. You know, we're all in different places, but we're all here. You know.
Absolutely.
No.
And so with that, we are going to go into a little bit of a fun topic. So we're calling this Taking the L. So we want to focus on people that have taken the L in the community. And it doesn't have to be Rangers. It can be fans. It can be people that we think. It could be other fandoms. It could be other forms of media that, you know what, we don't think you're a terrible person. We don't think that you're terrible at all. We just think this one time you fumbled, might have taken the L. And so Rician,
it happens.
Go ahead and let us know who's taking the L this week.
The troll of the day. I don't want to say any names, but we know. I just want to take this time to not take the L on trolling the actual Rangers themselves. That's not something I think is going to get us anywhere, even if the Ranger is wrong or is doing something that you feel should be questioned in the court of resilience. You know what I mean? And kind of like, what we doing with this guy? Like, let's kind of talk about it first as a collective, as you know what I mean, as a whole, and not be like every other piece of cancel culture out here, and kind of just show the love for the Rangers first, give people the benefit of doubt, stuff like that. It's always three sides of the story, you know, yours, theirs, and the truth. So, you know, I don't condone bullying, and I know I play around a lot in the community with stuff, certain things like that, but I ultimately want positive change. So there's certain Rangers, you know, you're always going to make your own judgment, like who you like, have your biases and stuff like that. But just, you know what I mean? Take a look at everything from the right perspective. That's all. And slow your roll and keep it professional and be about the community a little bit more, you know, because these Power Rangers are not going to be around forever. So if we start burning bridges with them, it keeps a lot of people away from certain things too. So I'll just pretty much leave it like that. Let's stop taking L's with that and try to get them close and not push them away. So
definitely.
that's how I
I
feel about
mean,
it.
we definitely aren't going to say the name. We don't want to bring more attention to the situation, but as
There's
everyone
trolls
knows
everywhere.
from Henry Resilient, there was a ranger that unfortunately was in a situation where there are more. We want to acknowledge and we want to make sure that everyone is aware there are multiple ways to look at a story, and just like Rican said, um, there is your side, my side, and the truth,
Mhm.
and that's what we want is the truth. And
Yeah, we
so
don't want no tantrum, you know.
exactly, and a lot of people have to look at it from the truth standpoint. So there's a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of things that are being omitted. We're not saying who's at fault, we're not saying the Rangers at fault, we're not saying that person is at fault, but you definitely have to look at all sides of the story before you make your judgment. And like Rican said, is that these Rangers aren't going to be around forever. They are not eternal, and this fandom isn't forever either.
And
So
they're not above reproach too. Let me just throw that in there too. You know, they
yeah,
definitely can be questioned. They're not better than any one of us. It's just we want a safe way to communicate and open the floor for the franchise, not push them away. Like I said, you know what I mean. So
yeah, definitely. And with that, I do want to say for the L that I'm definitely giving it is going to be to Austin with that security escort at Ranger Stop.
yeah, I heard about that, Mr.
So
McDojo, right?
yeah, Mr. McDojo. I mean, he's got like 35 different black belts under his belt, and he still needed security escort.
I mean,
I
I was
didn't hear
playing
about
some.
that.
Yeah.
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 Tell me, because I didn't hear about that.
Well,
So
can I just say that
yeah,
he's pretty much, I played some audio because that situation triggered some playing some old JDF interviews, and he was going in on how this man runs around telling stories. So after I seen this footage, I could hear the stories being told in my mind as I'm watching him go around telling stories after hearing what JDF would say. So
Mm-hmm.
go ahead, I'll let Angel tell it, but basically he had security.
yeah. If I remember correctly, Drew, step in if I'm remembering incorrectly.
Yeah.
But from my understanding, there was a certain volunteer at Ranger Stop that
Yes.
showed DMs from a private Discord. I believe it was like an international one, and
Mhm.
showed that there were like a group of people that are not happy with Austin St. John and the decisions he made so far, and they wanted to collectively boo him, and they wanted to. I don't know if it's true or not, but like they wanted to get a Wi-Fi speaker and play some of the audio of conversations that he had about wearing a certain dictator shirt and and different things like that. And definitely, I mean, for those actions, they are definitely booable. And like I said at the beginning, we don't think Austin is terrible. We'll talk about that a little later. But I mean, you can't you can't stop the people from voicing their opinions, and you can't alienate people because of your decisions. And I just think that's an L, just because Austin is supposed to be this 35-time black belt, and all people want to do is just go up to him and be like, just tell me the truth, man, just tell me.
He called JDF a Frankendouche, bro. That's what he used to call JDF, Frankendouche.
Yeah,
I'm
he
gonna
said
just put that
so
out there.
terrible
So, and
things.
then he's walking around talking with Sky. Let me not get too Jersey on him, but he was walking around talking with Sky, pictures with Tammy. Why you would taking pictures with Frankendouche's wife, bro? Why you wait till after he's gone to do that? You know what I mean? So it's like I talk shit because I'm willing to ask him that to his face. Because I'm Team
Yeah.
JDF all the way. We know JDF didn't like you, bro. So I know I all respect to Tammy and Jen. I know they're being diplomatic and they're taking the brand where it needs to go. So it's no disrespect, and I'm sure everything was cool. But let's not get it twisted. We know what it was. You know, we know how you feel about Frank and Deuce. You're not feeling me. You're not fooling me. So that was really it. And I had to hear that for myself. I didn't even know he said that till about yesterday. So when I heard that, I was like, okay,
terrible things.
you know what I mean? These dudes really hated each other. And then I really started studying the backstory of the money in the show, and, you know, how he thought he was basically, you know, Hot Shots part Deuce over here. You know what I mean? He thought he was Tom Cruise on set all the time. JDF was very vocal about it. And he started demanding money, and JDF was only supposed to be 10 episodes and be out. He really was just grateful to be there. So when people were talking about strikes and doing all this kind of stuff, he never really, you know, he told Austin. And then Austin makes it seem like JDF was, oh, yeah, we're all going to go strike. And then switched on him. But I'm pretty sure JDF was pretty vocal saying, yo, I'm not going nowhere. I'm just wait, you know, the money's going to come later. Just endure. And he was very vocal about that. So it's like, you know, the jig is kind of up, man. And then the stuff that Rocky's doing, I love to see Rocky come, you know, get managed by somebody else, you know, just out of sheer principle of what came out of Zach's mouth. That's a big L. You know what I mean? So anyone affiliated with JDF, like, you know, I advise you not to work with that, man. We'd love to have you. We've got other things going on over here. So anyone who talks like that about JDF is just, I know he wasn't perfect, but you know what I mean? When you're the star shortstop of the team and there's a lot on your shoulders and you carried the brand for years and you're the blueprint and it's the house that Frank built, you know what I mean? The weight is heavy, clearly, and it got a hold of him. You know, we lost him to the current. So that's why we're here. Let's talk about it. Anybody who loves him, anyone who knows more than we do, anyone who wants to talk about it, anyone going through mental health, that's what this is about. You know, the JDF be a legend. Shout to Tammy. Hopefully Laura can get us connected. I got some ill AI Pegasus Ninjetti armor for the queen when she's ready. You know what I'm saying? Jenna, you know, we got plans. We don't just want to sit around and talk shit about the brand. We want to change it and do things too. So
yeah, the one thing that I've been asking Tammy, and I know she's seen my comments before, and I think she might have seen a message. I want those poems.
She's out here liking comments. She's very supportive.
I want those poems published. I would love to own a published book of the JDF poems. And I told her too, because at the time I was working at a bank, and I knew a lady that was a publisher, and I was just like, whenever you want, Tammy, I really want those poets.
If you guys really want to support, shout to Melissa in the chat, Batgirl in the Cord. She told me she posted a Poshmark, and I'm very into the Poshmark scene too. I got one. My ex used to sell Poshmark, so I guess JDF's clothes are up for grabs if you guys want to go help Tammy. She's honoring the name. She, you know what I mean? I was telling the guys we should go get a couple jackets and support the family. Jenna's got a barbecue sauce. Of course, Bat in the Sun. They got White Dragon coming out. You know, we can't wait for that. So you can support these people. You know, we definitely trying to do things and bring light. So, you know what I mean? Let's see what happens.
Can I show you guys something?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Pause. Give me a minute. All right. Let me get.
Definitely surprise.
Yeah,
I like surprises.
But yeah, we'll have Drew give his L thought after Laura gets back with a little
and then
surprise.
go into Laura's story.
Yeah.
You know?
Ready?
You got the sauce. Look at you.
Oh, you got the sauce.
Let's review it. How is it? It's
really good. I just finished the whole bottle in like a week.
Yes.
It's so good. It's so good. You've got to get some.
Out here supporting her. I have a hoodie from Sky. I don't got it on me, but I paid the $30. I wanted a sign from her, but she don't love me no more. So
and real quick, I don't know if she'll answer, but I can try to call Tammy.
I just listen. I'm gonna send you her armor. You're gonna give her her armor.
We'll try to do it off the air. We'll try to do it off the air, just because I do value her.
You know,
I do value her her privacy, and I know she's a private person, and I don't want to put her on the spot like that. But Tammy, we love you. I want that book published as soon as possible, but I know it's very private, and it's a private thing to have to go through all those poems, but he was definitely a lot of wisdom in those poems,
Yeah, he had bars,
a lot of intellect, and even if it's a few, kind of like have you guys seen the Tupac poetry collection?
Mm-hmm.
I would love something like that, like just publish the poems and then have like a few pictures of the poems with it.
Well, let's talk about real quick the JDF experience. She's got this Comic-Con experience she's planning while we're on it. She's gonna actually go to cons with all his, like, basically make like a memorial, like when they went in the Captain America museum in the MCU movie. They're gonna do like this whole JDF walk around thing with all his favorite things, stuff from the sets, all his collectibles, and Jenna's gonna be there. So she's planning to be in the scene and just take over. I know she's gonna smash and do her thing. Like I said, she's becoming the man herself. So I'm glad.
Yeah, and we definitely
it's gonna help Jenna.
We don't advocate,
you know what I mean,
to bully Tammy either. We love Tammy. We definitely want people to reach out, and Tammy's such an interesting person because she got to know JDF outside of everything, the convention scene, the acting. She's the one that he went home to. So definitely she has a lot of stories, and I would love to.
Yeah, and I heard she's smoking now, so it's White Pegasus power. I want to talk to her about that.
All right,
she's rolling up lately, I heard. So,
well, Drew, let's finish up this topic with your L, and then we'll go on to Laura.
All right, I got the Master L going on with Austin St. John, because you guys know I have history with Austin St. John. Ooh, so when he disrespected me when I was 12 years old, like I didn't know what was going on at Victor Valley College back in 1995. That's how long ago that was. When you're in a room full of children, the oldest kid is maybe 13. Everybody else is like several months old to age up to age 13, right? So nothing.
So you said this is Valley College?
Yeah. This was
okay. So let's put people into perspective, because I think I know where you're going with this, but I also want people to know, because I grew up here. Valley College in the 90s was not the greatest college, and it's not as new as it is today. So I'm just imagining an auditorium stuffy, full of kids, and not the greatest time ever. So I'm just gonna give that backstory just so people get in the mindset and put themselves in that situation that you were in, Drew. Sorry about that.
No, don't worry about it. He walked in, they introduced him because it was him, Walter, and Twee. So I'm one of the few people that actually met Twee. And so they came out. Walter was happy. He was doing the hip hop keto. He was dancing,
that little shake thing.
Yeah, he did do the shake thing. He walked out doing that.
Salsa keto on deck.
He was doing the thing, and Twee was very nice, very welcoming, answered questions, very happy. Austin did not want to be there. How everybody says he's like pan face when you like talk to him sometimes. He was totally like that. And he did a backflip off the stage because somebody asked him about doing a backflip, and he was like, yeah, I'll do backflips. So he hopped on the stage, he did a backflip, and everybody went, yay, he did his thing. And it's just like when you asked him questions, he just did not want to answer anything. But I did ask the question of questions.
Okay.
When I was 12, I was like, so why'd you leave the show, and are you coming back, and do you hang out with the other Rangers? 3 big questions in one. And I was like, especially, do you hang out with Jason David Frank? Let me add that, and I put that.
Hell no.
So this is before
I heard they used to actually fight on set, bro.
This is 1995, man. This is, me at 12. This is before we knew anything about that stuff. And, he was just kind of like, yeah, I have parties, at the house him and Walter had, right? They were still there. The apartment place that they lived at with all the stunt guys that played the putties and stuff. They were living there like, yeah, we have a lot of parties and stuff. I think Jason was working, and he tried to skip over the question. I was like, all right, that's fine. But he just totally just did not want to be there. He could really care less. There was no energy. He didn't ask what my name was or anything, you know, because like usually when you're at events like that as a kid, especially in the 80s and 90s, they would be like, "What's your name, buddy?" "My name's Drew," you know, like, and "Hey, how you doing? How's everything going? Are you doing well in school?" "Yeah, I like school," you know. "Okay, cool. What's your question? What do you want to ask me about?" You know, they were kind of like that. That's how I was always used, because I've been to events and that's how they were.
Yeah.
I walked up there. It was like, he didn't ask me a thing, and he couldn't wait to get done with the question. It was over. And that's when my aunt brought me, my sister, and my younger cousin. And she said, "Oh, well, you know, your mom and dad paid for a picture, right? Because you get a picture with all three of them or one of them, whatever. They paid for the picture." And I looked and I was like, "I don't want a picture." And I walked out.
Dang.
So, because it just told me right there that, like, I didn't matter to him, you know. I just,
and that's not the first time you hear that about Tyrannodouche.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
The first
so
time.
Wants to
I
call
won't
him
let my son go over. Like, if he's at a convention, nah, you're not going over.
So
that's the
a
pot
little
calling
backstory
kettle
about
black.
me. So I actually trained to be a firefighter, and and I was going out to be a paramedic at the time. But unfortunately, this eye, I've lost most of the vision on it, so I don't qualify for the LA County Fire Department.
Okay,
It is what it is. So at the time I didn't know it, and I was still training to be a firefighter, and honestly, it's one of the things that I still love. If I had my choice, I would be on roofs right now. Like, that's how much of a passion I had for it. And I was Explorer of the Year 2 years in a row. I was deep into it. Like, I took my training seriously. I was the first Explorer. That was like the Boy Scouts version of fire department. Like, you were less than 18, but you had permission from your parents. You had permission from a firefighter that watched over you to go on calls with them 24 hours. So you could eat and sleep at the fire department. So I was doing that training, and I told JDF, and this was at the time when he was still managing. I think he had just brought Francis on, because I remember I was just like, "Oh, who's Francis?" You know, because he would always be like, "If you want something, hit up Francis, blah, 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 blah." So that's why I know Francis. And so, anyways, I wrote.
I love Francis.
Oh, I love Francis.
Yeah, we'd love to get her on here too to chop up eventually.
I love Francis.
Yeah.
Eventually.
So with my experience, I actually went to his comment section. One day I'll have to post it up. And I told him my story. I said, "Hey, you know, I'm training to be a firefighter. I want to be a hero just like you. You're my inspiration, blah, 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 blah." And he actually took the time to comment back on it. And he's all like, "No, you're the hero." So I went into it. And this was one of, I want to say this is 2017. So it was one of Austin's first conventions. And I was first in line. So I was waiting there, and he was late. He was super late. Everybody was already like forming, but I wanted to meet him. I wanted to tell him my story too, because I knew he was a paramedic, and I wanted him to know, hey, I'm also training for what you're doing. Couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. I paid for the combo, because and one of the things, I used to be well over like 300 pounds. So I wasn't the greatest photogenic wise, and I really wanted a photo with Austin, and I really wanted the autograph, and I was working at Del Taco at the time. So, you know, I wasn't making much money. So I stayed up. I went to the con, got an autograph and the combo from him. Didn't care less about my story. Didn't just kind of brushed me off, signed my thing, went off my way. And I was just like, damn, dude. Like, it left such a sour taste in my mouth that, like, I've got like the sword, right? And I'm just like, do I really want him to even touch my power sword?
Yeah.
Do I really even want another autograph from him? Let alone back then, I think I got his autograph for $40, $50, and now I'm hearing it's like $130 for the combo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I said around Henry's, it's all about the money. So I mean, we get
so
it. And you know
definitely
what? Shout to Amy Jo, because if you think about it, she still held him down, even though she can't stand your ass. She still held you down and made you the Rogue Red Ranger in MMPR: The Return. And if you look at a lot of the variants of where the comic book looks and the overall character, the Red Ranger will always be cool. He's always going to be cool. The character, Jason, the Red Ranger, is always going to be something. So you have to separate the character from the person who plays it. But
I'm glad you said that, Rician, because definitely Jason is like Ryu from Street Fighter. I think they're cool characters. Now, it is what it is with the actor, but like I said, with the L, we're not saying you're terrible, Austin. We're just saying you're just gonna have to take the L on this one, and we're not saying you're taking you're a terrible person. The guy we're talking about at the beginning, but you earned the L.
Let's let Laura go. I mean, you had a situation with Austin, right? I mean, we basically telling him what we feel.
Definitely. I mean, we'll get to that in a little bit, but right now, let's go ahead and have Drew introduce Laura finally, and we'll have her tell her story.
Okay. Pause for 1 minute.
Yeah.
I have to go to the bathroom. Is that okay?
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll segue into something else too.
Yeah, we'll segue into something else.
I'm sorry about all the movement.
It's okay. No, I have medical issues too, so if I have to go to the bathroom, it is not an issue, and it is not anything against you. Go ahead and
we'll do your intro while you're gone.
While you do it.
Okay, I will be right back. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you for your patience.
Don't worry.
Go ahead, Drew. Why don't you do her intro while she's, you know what I mean? While she's gone.
All right, guys, we got a special lady in the house, Lightning Lady Laura, as I like to call her. She's awesome. She's got a great story. She's got a great heart, great personality. She's one of the most funnest people you ever want to talk to, be around, interact with. She's real as real can get. No fakeness with her. She's straight up. She lets you know what she thinks. And really, she has a soul of gold, and you could see why people like her. She asked earlier, like, why do people like me? It's like, because you have a heart and soul of gold, and it's pure. And when you're pure and you come into a place, people can feel it, whether if they're good people or bad people, everyone can feel the energy off of you. As Joe Strummer used to say from The Clash, because I'm from the punk rock scene, you could feel the heat off the street. You could feel the heat off a good person. You could feel the heat off a bad person. When she walks in the room, you could feel the goodness. When you talk to her, you just feel like an angelic presence that comes through. So I'm honored to have her here. She's my friend. I'm proud to be able to call her that. Laura, when you get back, it's going to be awesome. You guys are going to hear the story.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know of Laura from the Henry Resilient channel. I know she's a frequent contributor. Never had a chance to, unfortunately, become a friend. Like I said, I am married, so I do respect my wife, and I am interested in her story. She does have that aura around her, like you said, like. You definitely feel it. Like you said, you felt it with Austin when you were 12, and you were 12. So, I felt it when I met the guy and brushed me off, and I am getting the opposite feeling of Laura. So definitely we are excited to hear your story, Laura. So like we were saying, we know you're a contributor at the of Henry Resilient, and we just want to know where you come from. What's your background?
Okay. I'm sorry.
Talk to your Rangers.
Okay. So I'm Laura. The way I introduce myself at a AA meeting is, hi, I'm Laura. I'm an alcoholic and Power Ranger fan, and love Jason, and what's that?
What is that, Drew?
Go Laura Ranger, go.
There you go.
So I was born and raised. Well, I was born in Harvey, Illinois, which is right outside of Chicago. I moved around a lot. Long story short, I was in foster care for the majority of my life. And yeah, I live in Champaign, Illinois. It's a college town. And I don't know how I found Henry. I don't. But I'm glad I did.
Right.
I can't tell you who introduced me to Henry, but I'm so glad that I found him because yeah. And as I was telling him, he did a secret stream I was on, and I was telling him that I used to be really camera shy. Like really, really camera shy. And because I've been coming up on his stream, actually it's helped me with my confidence. It's helped me to come out. And so he's helped me a lot. I love Henry. I don't care about what people say about hate monger or this or that. Henry is a good dude. I can tell, like even through a screen, I can tell when people have nefarious intentions. Like I just know. And Henry, I just love him, and I think Jason would have appreciated him.
Yeah.
That's why Tammy came on. I think at the end of the day, he got Tammy because of who he is. And she's like, nah, if anybody gonna tell it, I'm gonna tell it. And she did. And she came on and did her thing.
I mean, there is a reason that he is the way that he is, and it works for him. His formula would not work for us, but we love Henry all the same, and we would love to have him on. Hopefully one day we can make that happen. And yeah, I mean, I remember I got into it because with the Jason David Frank story, you know, I really wanted to know what was going on and what the situation was, because I'll admit, at the very beginning, Tammy looked suspect. I thought Tammy did it, but you know, I'm really appreciative of Henry bringing the facts, Henry being non-biased, and I mean, that's the thing about Tammy. Like you said, you can recognize good people, and Tammy was not able to portray an evil person because she had the facts behind her. She was able to say, "This is my story. These are my facts. Here you go. Do with it."
I like that she stood up for herself. You know, she stood up for herself. That's it. And the thing that got me going was that when there was a Facebook group saying that Tammy killed him, that's when I was like, man, this can get out of control. What's going on here? And then when I stumbled across Henry, he was the only one really investigating the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I watched his content for a year almost before I jumped on screen. Because
I didn't. Same thing.
It was a minute, but I was tapped in the way he put it together, the way he would dig, and his sound effects. You know, because I watch a lot of Mystery Science Theater, so he's very like when he does that with the sound effects and shit. I thought it was hilarious, so I started to entertain me, and it was about Rangers and stuff I was interested in. So, shout to him and the formula, but look at how it brings people together. So now this is the extension of that. Let's dive deep into stuff we're not really allowed to on there, or just go down different paths with it. So
definitely, and I like that you brought up the foster system, Laura. So what was that like? How did you get into Power Rangers through that? Were you like moving around from like family to family, and or what is your story?
So I was so from the very beginning, the first time I was taken, I was 8 months old, due to neglect, and then I went into a foster home, emergency foster home, and then a month later I was put with the family. Me and my brother was put with the family, the Rician family, and I mentioned them by name because I want them to know how good of a family they were. The parents were Patricia and Alan Russin, and they wanted to adopt me and Patrick, my brother, older brother. He was 4 at the time, and we were their first foster children, and they wanted to adopt us. And we were happy there. I have pictures of me with them, and they were just great parents. Unfortunately, my biological mother, Phyllis, would not let us be adopted. She later, you'll hear later, that she was of the opinion that if she could not have her children, no one could. And so we were given back to her. I was about 2. The records say November of '87. So I would have been, 2, almost 3 when we went back. And I lived with her until I was 10. There was a lot that went on. A lot of abuse, a lot of neglect, a lot that shouldn't have gone on. But insert Power Rangers. So I don't know how I found it. It's a kid show, and I was alone a lot. My older brother had, he was in the streets. He was doing whatever he wanted to do, because he didn't have any parents to tell him what to do or not to do, so he kind of just did whatever the heck he wanted to. So, and so I was confined to the apartment we lived in. And the only thing I had was teddy bears and Power Rangers. So I remember.
Was it a specific toy? I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm curious. Was it a specific toy you had, or a stuffy? Like, what really drew you to the brand that you had? Like, what physical item was it that was like, oh yeah, I gotta watch the show? Was it a specific thing?
So not at first. No, I just had generic stuffed animals. Later on, I got a White Ranger plushie.
Okay.
Like,
was it the one with
the White Ranger that did it?
No, it was a soft. It was a soft plushie.
Okay.
I remember them.
Yeah, I remember them too.
They were flat. They kind of looked like Stretch Armstrongs a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. I had one.
I remember. They're expensive now.
Yeah. I don't know where I got it. I don't know where it went. I don't know. But I had it and I love that thing. My first favorite was Amy Jo Kimberly, because I remember wanting to be flexible, and I wanted to be able to see, like I said before, I grew up in a house where I was told that I would never be anything, I would never do anything. I was broken, I was handicapped, I was, just basically nothing. So the doctors told Phyllis, because she had issues and she had something called Munchausen by proxy syndrome. So Munchausen syndrome is when you purposely make yourself sick to get attention, right? Munchausen by
now, is that a mental disorder classified? I'm just curious. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And Munchausen by proxy is basically you make someone else sick to get that attention. So a mother with her kids, a nurse with the patient, any kind of relationship where there's someone taking care of someone, that's the type of relationship. So because of her neglect that she had subjected on us, we were lacking a lot. So I was lacking a lot of motor skills, a lot of, I couldn't speak because I was never taught to speak. I was never really talked to, in order to learn how to speak, people have to talk to you. That's how you learn how to talk. I was never spoken to. I was never given a chance basically. And because of this, the doctor saw me and listened to what she was saying and thought that I had some serious developmentally delayed. Like I was seriously developmentally delayed.
Right.
And they thought it was because of something I was born with.
Right.
They had no idea about the neglect. So, that being said, they diagnosed me with cerebral palsy at 7. And again, I was not able to be flexible or this or that. So I would watch, Amy Jo, and I used to dream about, can I do that? Can I walk straight? Can I be, on a beam? What it would be like to even walk in a straight line. That would be awesome. I was in speech therapy. I was in occupational therapy. I was in all kinds of therapy because they thought it was my brain when it was all due to neglect. Because when they took me from my mom at 10, I started to improve. I started to catch up with other people around me. I started to become a typical kid,
Now, pause you. What mom? When you say your mom, your foster mom, your real mom, which mom?
Real mom, Phyllis.
Okay.
Yeah, Phyllis. So they took me at 10. She had a mental breakdown, and she was on the verge of deleting us, if you will. So I tell this story where one night she went nuts, and she had grabbed a butcher knife, and she put it to my throat. And she knew that they were coming to get us because someone had called DCFS, and she knew that they were coming to get us. And she said, if I can't have my kids, no one can. Now, I talked to Patrick about this story, and he remembers he's the one with the knife. They both have knives at this point. They were both going at each other, and their relationship was volatile. But this is the first time that I'd experienced that from her, in that way.
Right.
And long story short, so going back, Power Ranger kind of kept me level, like kept me from going
balance to your mind, right?
Right. It was the one thing I had to look forward to. It was the one thing, and it's funny because I'll tell you a story. I met David Yost. Who I don't care what anybody says. I love him. I love him. And one thing I told him when I met him was that when I just a brief version of what I just told you, and I said, I was really abused as a child, and he looked at me. He said, "We hear that a lot."
Yeah.
And so, so I was taken, and then I was put into the care of my Aunt Mary. She was only able to keep us for 11 days. I had a lot of problems mentally, physically. I've been abused and neglected and beaten, all this. And my aunt would, as much as she tried, she could not take care of us. Patrick had these anger issues. And like I said before, he had been, no authority, no parents. So, who's going to tell him what to do? Because, he'd coming into this house with my aunt and my uncle, and he's looking at him like, you're not telling me what to do. Nobody has ever told him what to do. So he's like, why should I listen to you? And so we were not in any way prepared to be in a family because we didn't know what that meant, and so we were taken from her and put into DCFS official custody, and then we were separated. So that's the long of it. Sorry.
Yeah, who's Patrick again? Your brother?
Older brother. Yep.
Older brother. How much older is he than you?
5 years. He's 80, 1980.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were born in 1985?
No.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to point out, real quick, excuse me, if anyone in Hasbro, Netflix, anyone that has anything to do with Power Rangers, as Laura's telling us her story, her trauma basically, and almost in tears and the stuff she's been through, Power Rangers was her balance. Yeah. So let me just say that again. Power Rangers was her balance. So when I say importance of the brand and what it is for kids, we understand you guys are a kids show, but Laura's not a kid anymore. So to see her go to a movie theater and watch the Pink Ranger 30 years later be an adult like her, be resilient like her, and be stern and hear and survive, it has to happen. You can have the kids stuff, but the adults deserve it because we've been here where we've been holding you guys down for 30 years, and Laura's not going to be the first or the last to come up here and have stories about how important it is that our stupid little show lives on.
Okay? And that's, I want to say that's what makes the fandom so strong. Even though we are a small fandom, I'll admit, me and my wife, we are Disney fans, so we are used to big fandoms. You know, we have besides my Ranger stuff, I've got Disney stuff, I've got like all sorts of different things. I've got Disney pins back there, so I know when Disney is a huge community. But I want to say, your story with David Yost is true because you know, I was severely beaten as a kid, and a lot of times I would go into my grandma's room because that was my safe haven, and I would put on Power Rangers after school. And you know, I was a big kid. Like I said beforehand, I used to be over 300 pounds, and I was always a big kid, so I was always teased, and I didn't have many friends. So Power Rangers was my outlet. Like I could live vicariously through Tommy, you know. So my story is not special to me. I've heard many different people, but you know, that's what makes the fandom so great is that a lot of the adults, like Rick had said, they are going through things and they want their stories to be known. And I want to say, as a Super Sentai fan, that's what I do like about Super Sentai is that they continue the story. So, like for instance, Japan is having a crisis where there's not a lot of people having children right now. So, what did they do? They brought superhero mamas. Like they had like a special movie where Magi Blue. So I sorry, I forget the American season name. Mystic Force Blue, SPD Pink. There was a Yellow Ranger. I can't remember who right now.
And well, they're getting popular, all the Sentais right now.
No. So the Super Sentai. So this is the thing about it is because they're having an issue with Japanese not having kids. Like they literally put these women back together X amount of years, and they were like, "Hey, now they're moms, and they're still heroes. You can be a mom, and you can be a hero too." And so they're also having a crisis of not a lot of people want to have, regular jobs like, physical labor, like construction workers, train workers, different things like that. They're not all studying and over there, because I actually stayed with my best friend for months at a time. And he used to tell me straight up, he used to be like, Angel, my best friend didn't do great in school, and now he's working as a construction worker. He's making great money, but in my society, not seen as a great job. You're kind of like the bully in high school, or like different other things. And now what they're doing is they're having Rangers that have everyday jobs like that. Like they're telling kids it's okay to be a construction worker. You're gonna be fine. Like you can grow up and do that, and they know that there are adults watching that are gonna be like, "Oh, he's an engineer just like me," or "He's a day laborer just like me." So that's what we're asking of Hasbro, is just to keep in mind our stories, and that we can make it for kids, but also have the storylines for the adults that are watching, because a kid is not gonna buy this. This is
they're gonna have to redo everything. I mean, if you want to eat for 30 years again, they're gonna have to redo every season. You can't just keep doing MMPR. You guys are gonna kill yourselves. Let's keep it real, you know.
It's the same with
Let's keep it real.
It's
well, Drew, what do you think, bro? I mean, and then Laura, finish up where you were at, where you started, and we'll keep moving along. You know, as far where did we leave off at with Laura? I forgot what we were saying about did you finish up what you were saying or no?
No, I was just gonna say that people wonder why I'm so okay now. Like, how can you be okay with all of this crap that's happened? A lot of it I've healed from.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of it, I mean, I'm not living in it right now. You know, there are times when it's hard, but I mean, I choose not to let it define how I live today. You know,
where do you put it now? You saw how we were saying, we just kind of branched off to talk about balance, and back then it was Power Rangers. What do you do now? How do you know what I mean? How you same way Power Rangers was your balance back then? What's your balance in that?
Yeah, what brings you happiness? What brings you light?
Right. So I'm a nanny. So children.
Right. Because you didn't have that. So.
And like I said on Drew's interview, it's that when I lived in Charleston, I took care of two children that helped heal those parts of me. You know, they're now 19 and 17, but they were babies, you know, and helping take care of them helped heal me, you know. Taking care of people. I'm a caretaker by nature. I love taking care of people. I love being there for people in their darkest hours. I love being able to be there because I know what it's like to be so alone and not to have anybody. I still go through those days of being very, very lonely, feeling like no one cares. And again, it's those voices that I'm learning to challenge. Well, you know,
can I pause? Where are you at? Where are you at with religion? With that, is that a void for you? Does that fill a void for you when you feel empty like that? Is that something you consider?
Yeah. So I'm a Christian, and I believe in God, and I pray, and I know that
does that help? You feel like that help?
Yes.
Okay, that's important.
Praying too. And just believing what I was told, and I believe this, that you go through something, but you can turn around and help somebody else that's going through it that doesn't know how to get through it.
Yeah.
You know, they're looking like, what do I do with it? I don't know. Well, since I've been through it, I can turn around and be like, okay, I'll walk with you because I've been there. There's in recovery, there's a poem. It's kind of long, but it goes like, a man fell in a hole, right? And a priest walked by him, a businessman walked by him, whole bunch of people walked by him, and they all like bent down and offered their advice and whatnot. And but there was one guy that walked by him and jumped into the hole, and the man in the hole was like, "Well, what are you gonna do? We're both stuck in the hole now." And the man that jumped in the hole said, "Yes, but I know how to get us out." And so that's my that because I've been there, because I know, because I've survived 2 suicide attempts.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to help somebody out of that spot.
Talk them off the ledge, right? Talk them off the ledge, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember.
Well, I mean, that's something you can really focus on with Tammy, because that's her fight right now. That's what I'm telling you. I don't think it's any coincidence that you already have that connection, and that's what she's trying to do. And I feel like you'd be a great soldier for her. You're ride or die JDF. She'd probably love to have you. You know what I mean? You should really reach out to her, because honestly, you can't trust anybody else. I think the more I dig into this man, and I put my love for him into research, I find out he moved a certain type of way for a reason. And that's where Henry always kept it tried and true. So that's what we're doing here. So you can become a leader out here for him.
Yeah.
By being as vocal and gung-ho as you are, and walking up to, Tyrannosaurus asshole and telling him, hey, you know what I mean? So you matter, obviously, you're doing stuff. So, and we need people like you in the fandom and in Henry's chat to be like, listen, nah. And it sounds like a jury. If you watch the chat and you watch the streams and everybody's in there and it's a good time and we're all going in the chat, like it's like a jury, man. As soon as we see something funny, the chat is right on it. People are not stupid. So when I come up, I'm like, damn, you can't fool these people. Everyone, Henry is training detectives. It's getting scary. That's why the Rangers are like, what do we do with these people? So now we're giving y'all voices. You know what I mean? So
going off that, Laura, thank you for sharing all of that with your story, and we're here for you if you need something. Drew's got contact. We'll be in contact. You're a special friend of the show, so we would love to have you back on whenever you can.
Yeah, I want to know real quick before you go too. What
no,
do you
not going anywhere, Rican. She's got to tell her story first.
I want to know.
Where am I going to
throw it in there too?
Yeah, we want to know how you went toe to toe with the what I like to say is I want to know when you went toe to toe with the Jellosaurus. So
and what you want to see from the brand, throw those
story.
two things in there for me. What you want to see from the brand too, because I want you to be like, I want you to give it to Hasbro too. After you do all your story, talk to Hasbro too. So go ahead.
Yeah. So go ahead. Let's hear your story, Laura.
Mm-hmm.
Story concerning Austin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna preface this with I'm a very spiritual person. I pray and I listen, and I feel like I get guidance sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
That may sound crazy to others, but it happens to me. So when I got there, I had no intention of seeing him. I knew I had an idea that he would be there, but I did not have. I'm like, everything I heard, I don't feel good about going to see him. I'm not. It's not happening, But
why did you see him? That's my question, because you had heard the negativity, and like, for instance, with me, if I walk by Austin St. John, I'm gonna be very honest. I'm not going to go into line with him. I'm not going to see him. But you're different. You saw him and you went up to him, because I'm assuming, was it a long line?
No.
Okay, so probably it was more like, I'm about to go give him a piece of my mind. But go ahead. Like, what makes you different that you were just like, I gotta go see this guy?
I will start from the beginning. So again, I wasn't gonna go see him, but I went to go see Font, and went to give him. I made him.
We love Font here.
I made him a Jason comp, so I had to go give it to
him. Nice.
Sorry, did he love it? Like,
he did. It really touched him. Yeah. So as I was leaving, because I spent some time with Font, because he was just setting up, so he had just got there, so I got a chance to talk to him, and he's such a sweetheart. I love him. And I was walking away because I was getting ready to go see Amy and David, because they're in the back, he's in the front. So I was walking away, and out of the blue, he looked at me and said, "You're going to go see Austin?" I paused. I gave him this crazy look. Like, huh? You really want me to go see him? I don't know about, no. But he said he's at 613. I'll never forget, 613. See, I didn't even look him up. I didn't care at that point. I didn't care until Font said something. So I packed it away. I'm like, we'll see. So I go back with Amy and David, and
Oh, so you saw Amy and David?
I did.
Okay, so you saw them after you saw Font. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You got an Amy signature?
I got pictures of Amy.
Okay.
Oh, you don't have any.
I got pictures if you want to see.
Yeah. Did you tell her your story?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah.
Oh, what did she say?
She's very touched. She's very, very touched.
Yeah, we love the queen over here.
Yeah, I was hoping she was going to say something like that.
Maybe one day.
If
Susie
you can
Q
see.
one day.
Oh, that's nice. That's what I'm talking about. That is the reaction.
And you both had the pink look like super.
I know, we matched.
Right? You guys did the fusion, the pink fusion.
Yeah. I'm really happy for you. That's a genuine hug right there. That's what you like to see.
Yes, you got a big heart, bro. So
yeah. So I go back and I'm still not going to see Austin. I put that in, because they say if you tell God your plans, he laughs. So I'm not going to see Austin. Not going to. But something kept gnawing at me. Something kept saying, maybe you should. Maybe you should. Right. Maybe you should.
Them damn voices.
And I'm just like, no, nope. But then something kept saying it, no, go. Because if you don't, you'll regret it.
Right.
So I found his booth, his table, whatever. And I hesitated. Like, I stood back for a while, like a few minutes. I stood back, and I'm like, I really don't want to do this. I really don't want. I have no reason to go see him. I don't
Did you
want.
know what you wanted to say? Like you knew you were gonna go up there, right? Battling it. Did you know what you wanted to say?
No, I had no clue.
You winged it.
I winged it. So I walked up, and
you did this whole time. Like, I know when if I was in that line, I'd just be stewing in my own anger.
I wasn't stewing. I was kind of confused. Like, why am I doing this? What am I going to say? Still not understanding what I was going to say. And there was some other people talking to him, and kind of nervous, But I had this very stern look on my face. It wasn't like I was excited or, hey, wasn't any of that.
You weren't nerding out.
And so I was using my cane. So I had a stroke, as I mentioned earlier, and I was getting very weak. And so I was using my cane. So I walked up to him, and I remember putting my cane on the table because I didn't want it to fall on the floor. I got kind of emotional, actually, not because of him, because of everything he had done with the Hitler shirts and everything.
Yeah.
And I just looked at him, and there was no excited emotion from me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked at him and said, I purposely put out my hand for him to shake because of this. I wanted him to see the autograph.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the JDF.
Oh, yeah, you got JDF on you. Oh, it's like that? I didn't know it was like that.
So I shook his hand, and I don't know that he saw it.
He did. He saw it. I bet you anything. That's one of the things that I said once, that it must kill him seeing all the JDF tattoos that people have, because people loved Tommy that much that they would get his power coins tattooed all the time. But I don't see a lot of Tyrannosaurus tattoos. I see a lot of Tommy tattoos.
I'm sure they're out there,
So I know for a fact that has to sting him a little bit. So not to cut you off, but I'm betting he saw it. He definitely saw it.
And so at the beginning, I just kind of kept it cool. I said, so I have a few questions. I went into a little bit of my story. I said, first of all, I want to thank you for being a part of my childhood. You were a good part of my childhood. But I have a few questions. And I said, I just found out that the whole maternal side of my family is Jewish. And he's like, that makes you sad? I said, no. Then I looked at him, and he looked back and gave me this look, and he's like, is this about the Hitler shirts? I was like, yes, it is.
He asked you.
No, he already knew,
yeah. So
he said, is this about the
Hitler like a
shirt?
Jedi, and he asked you.
And I said, yes, it is. And at first he started to say something like what he had usually said, like, oh, I haven't made them, look at the website, the PR stuff, right? He started. Right. Something compelled me. I still don't understand how I did this, but something compelled me to lean over the table. And he had his hand sitting like this. He was sitting down at the table, like we are. And I leaned over and I put my hands over his hands, right? And I got like this to him. And I still remember how hot his hands were. And I said, I said, please tell me you're not making Hitler shirts. And I looked at him in his eyes. Please tell me.
People, they don't lie.
Please tell me you're not making Hitler shirts. And he looked at me and said, I will never make Hitler shirts. And I was like, that makes me feel better you saying that, because I'd heard, I never said Henry's name. I just said, I heard that you were making Hitler shirts, and he went on, he talked about how his grandfather was in World War II. He was not in Nazi Germany. His father had been a Marine, and that he was a student of history. And he thought it would be a good idea for him as a student of history to, I guess, prevent what has happened at World War II and with Hitler and all this. He wanted to prevent this from happening again, and he thought it would be a novel idea to put these on shirts to kind of bring awareness to it. That was his whole thing. And so I got a full explanation on what he was thinking. And he was very, it was quite honest, because I was just telling someone the other day that when I expect, like, if someone comes up to you at a con that you don't know and they get right here with you, you're like, who are you? Get out of my face.
Do you think that has anything to do with him getting security the way that he did recently, like the guys were saying?
I don't think so. Look, I think
you know what I mean. Like the Brazilian army came out and touched him pretty easily. You know what I mean. He knows the fans are gonna. So it's like that.
I don't think it
that could be part of the smoke why Henry's getting in trouble right now and he's getting banned and stuff like that too, because that's a fear for them. JDF did get death threats. He wasn't perfect. He did get death threats one time. So. I'm just putting that in perspective too. So what you did really speaks more volumes than because you reached out and touched the man and said, I hope you're not doing that.
Yeah.
And you looked right in his soul, in his eyes, and he immediately, without hesitation, responded and said, I'm not doing that. So that was a direct response to me from the heart, right? Yeah. So say what you will about ASJ. When you chin-jacked him, he showed his teeth, his Tirana teeth, and he was like, he wasn't mean. He didn't do none of that. He was like, I would never do that. So deep down, the red
Laura. In there. Like, I do want to say that it was Laura, because if I had done something like that, I would have got dragged out of the con.
Well, then that's ego.
It was
that's what I'm
Laura
saying.
being in her cane and being female, number two, and being such a sweet person that he was able to get the message, versus somebody like me. I would not have been so colloquial about it, and I would have got dragged out of the con. So I think Laura was the perfect person to be the speaker, the speakerphone for all of us, because you are the perfect person to say something like that, to be like, hey, you're not going to make the shirts. versus me, then I'm just gonna be like, better not make those shirts, you know. So
yeah, he might not take it the right way.
That to Laura is, do you think Austin can redeem himself?
Yeah.
In your eyes, do you think that there is hope for him, number one? And number two, what would it take for him to be redeemed in your eyes? His comic brand, I believe it's called, Drew, let me know, Redemption?
Yeah.
So for you, what would it take for him to redeem himself for you? And what is there redemption for him? Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's funny, seeing what I saw there with him, I don't think he's malicious. I didn't see that. I didn't get that. I think it's a whole lot of, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. You know, I think there's a whole lot of...
He's a dingleberry. We love you, but you're a dingleberry, bro. Sorry.
I think...
Sorry.
I don't get malicious. I don't know. And
you hit him with that touch by an angel, girl. That's what you did. You just, it was the right moment, right time, and it was kind of a soul thing, I think. You know what I mean? You just got it out of him.
You could take a second, Laura. Like, I know that you want to phrase it correctly, but if you just want to say your thoughts, go ahead, because I know I'm gonna be very frank with him. That's funny. I'm gonna be very frank, and I'm gonna say how I feel. You know, this is a safe place to just blurt it out, and you can just explain yourself.
What I see, now, before I met him and before I had that encounter with him, I told him, I told him right out, I said, I don't know if I wanted to come see you because I didn't like you very much. I said that. I didn't like you very much. But having that encounter, there are things that he has said and done that I don't like. I don't like the way he treated Jason. Jason did nothing wrong to him. In my opinion, Jason was the innocent victim of this. And I'm Team Jason for life, you know. But pair that with...
what scares him. That's what scares him. Jason has riders like us. That's what really, really bothers ASJ deep down.
I'm pair that with the human that I saw in that moment, that I was right here with him. So there's the two realities where I don't like what he did to Jason. I don't like the decisions he made. I don't like his whole aura of what this and that, and his ego and this and that. But there is the human that I saw in that moment that kind of pricked my heart.
Right.
So there's that little bit that I don't quite know where it fits in yet, you know, because there is a humanity there. And there's a person there behind all of this facade and all this crap and all these terrible decisions. There's someone there that is so, I think, is so blocked by all of this. Like he's piling on top of himself to kind of protect the whatever he has going on inside.
Right. You know? Talk about it. I agree.
That's what I saw in that moment. I saw that human. I saw that man. I saw something about him.
Can Drew help you out at all? I mean, I want to hear what Drew says too about some of the
Sure. Go ahead, Drew.
If you need to take a break, Drew can step in. He hasn't talked in a while. What do you think, Drewski?
Well,
about all this ASJ talk? It sounds like redemption to me, man.
I need to
say. He's rooting for him. You know, she's saying she had a heartfelt moment with him hand in hand, and she saw the T-Rex for real, and it wasn't there. It was a teddy bear, you know? So she said, that's basically what she's saying to me. So what do you think, you know, of all this and ASJ?
I'm still Jason for life. I will always be Jason for life, and nothing will ever change that.
Even though I roast him. Me too.
Well,
me too.
What I'll say, guys, is this. It takes a special person to open the heart of a xenomorph, a Darth Vader, a Baron Harkonnen, Fade Routher, a Magneto, an Apocalypse, or Skeletor, or Mumra, whichever one you want, or Megatron. It takes a very special person that can have the heart and soul and kindness to say that deeply, honestly, truthfully, angelically, enough to make the hardest, most evil person find their humanity and be human
ego.
and be decent again. Or for
Drop
their
the
first
ego.
time if they never have been. And in this case with Austin, with the connection that Laura connected with him, I should say the olive branch she extended to him, he could not disrespect that, disregard that, or hide. Because it's not just he's coming open or kind in a way. He's really humbling himself. And see, the thing about Austin is not naturally a humble guy in any way. The way he conducts himself, the way he talks about people, anything like that. Okay? He won't even admit that he's wrong.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go, for sure.
Yeah, Jason, who he took money from Jason, and Jason didn't get for 2-3 more years and get the cup, right? And Jason went on screen face to face with him. And Jason's Jewish. And Jason was saying, hey, please tell me you won't do this. And Jason met him when he was a kid and got an autograph and had a good moment with him and did all that stuff. Wears red because Jason, all that stuff, right? And he wouldn't even tell him. I saw it. He wouldn't even tell him, no, I'm not making the shirts. He was like, oh, you guys just have to see what happens the whole time. And he kept going around and he was reading a script and he was segueing into different things, right? That was the conversation. But Laura shows up and she looks in his eyes and she puts her hands in his hands. That's very biblical. Hands in his hands. Okay? And in that moment, Laura really channels God's love.
Conviction too, because he dropped his guard right away. I feel like she convicted him, as soon as she touched him.
That's what I'm getting to, is that Christ's love shines through Laura, through him. And when Christ hits that light on Austin, he can't lie anymore. He can't hide anymore. He can't not be humble anymore. Yeah. All of a sudden, he has to now tell the truth and be open and be clear and be honest and be righteous in that moment. Remember, guys, the IRS, he lied up until he knew the jig was up, right? Yep. Then he took the chance, right? And said, oh, I'm guilty now. But what did he first say when he got busted and went to jail? Oh, I'm not guilty. I'm innocent. I'm going to fight this to the end, right? That's what he said, right?
To the very end.
That's what I'm saying. Up until jail and losing everything, he could not tell the truth. You guys see that? He could not.
Well, that's why I did my research, because it's like, how long has this guy really been lying? Because it doesn't happen overnight.
He's been lying the whole time.
And if you look at when Squad Leader was alive, he's been saying it. He didn't want to say it. He got tired of saying it. He was almost like, I don't want to talk about this guy. They were almost like Pac and Biggie walking around beefing at some point. If you go back a couple years, these guys really had like a hip-hop beef going around in the Ranger community. Like, it was red versus green. Like JDF was putting a stop to
well,
it.
it was low key. They kept it low key because Jason wanted it to be.
One was a real fighter and one wasn't. So he even offered him 25 grand to fight him, and he was like, "Nah, son," because he knows what's up.
He get his butt kicked.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, so
that's
it's always
like me. If he offered me $25,000 to go in a fight with Austin St. John, I was talking about it with Drew the other day. If I was to get in the ring with Austin St. John, I would not stand a chance because he has basic karate like instructions. I know for a fact he knows how to fight. I don't know how to fight like that. I'm gonna get taken down in 2 seconds. Now, the thing is that 25 grand, he was gonna embarrass himself because like step into a ring with JDF, you're gonna be in a chokehold.
See, I disagree. I think it might have helped his brand. What if he would have, because after the fight, you're supposed to shake hands and go about your business, and it's honorable just because you just got in there. It might have changed the trajectory of his career if he kind of embraced JDF in any type of way.
It would have killed his. It would have killed his career.
But it's an ego thing, bro. Man.
No, it wasn't about ego. It was about his lies crumbling down. Because
I heard the audio, right? Check this out. I heard the audio that they used to fight on set of who used to say morphin' time.
Yeah.
That's how petty it was.
No, it was.
If Tommy would say it near him, that's my line. I seen it in the documentary. I'm like, all right, this goes deep to back on set when they were like, you're not the guy, you're the guy. And that became the problem. And then my problem is he's dead, and that never got squashed before he died. And then you're walking around with all these people like it would have been okay. You know what I mean? That's really the only violation. The government thing, lying to the government, you wasn't gonna get away with that. So you dug your own grave with that. Everything else is kind of consequences of how you've been. And when I dig and try to hope for you not to be that way, everything I'm researching is showing up. You've been that way for a long time, and JDF wasn't lying. So that's where I'm like, all right, well, you gotta want to change here, buddy, because it ain't looking good out here for you. Now you're getting security. Henry's getting banned because you're worried about getting booed. Like, come on, man. The fans are just telling you to cut it out. And then Amy Jo sets you up, even though she
Henry got banned because of the Discord. Because of the Discord. Because of the messages.
But it wasn't even
his Discord. But it wasn't because of that. So let's put the record straight on that one. It was because of the messages. They thought it was a little threatening. So let's put credit where credit is due. But going back to that fight, I was going to kill his brand because he was banking on so many years of lies of being the 30-time black belt champion and killing a guy in, what was it, in the Middle East and stuff like that. If he had gone in the ring with JDF for 2 seconds, Drew, okay, think about it. Drew, I have no martial arts. I have no martial arts background. If I was to get in the ring with you, okay, fine. I have basic. I took lessons when I was a kid. I am now 34. If I was to step into the ring with you, how fast could you put me down?
Oh, okay.
Be honest. Be brutally honest. Because
I love both you guys. So what I'm about to say is no harm, no foul, right? Okay. So
how many years have you been? Again, you've been doing it since you were 10. How many years have you been doing?
19 years old is when I started. So if I come at, let me put it to you like this, guys. If I come at you like somebody takes me over and I come at you with no mercy, full anger.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, it would be bad. It would be bad. If I had control and kind of just had fun with you, I'd still get it, but it'd be different, Right. It wouldn't be as fast.
Okay, put yourself in the shoes of JDF. Mm-hmm. This guy has pissed him off since the 90s. Mm-hmm. How fast do you think you could take him down?
With the animosity that he had against Austin, he wouldn't have waited 2 seconds. As soon as the bell before he rang, he would have ran over immediately, checked him out, and then decided at that point how exactly he wanted to destroy him. If he wanted to choke him out, if he wanted like a punch knockout, if he wanted a kick knockout, a knee knockout, it would have been like that. And Austin wouldn't have been able to stop it. And whatever he decided, it would have just been over. The fight, in my opinion, would have been less than 5 seconds.
Yeah, and then that would not have cost. So that, thinking about it, Rician, $25,000 to get in a ring with him would have cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars in the long run. It would have cost him his career. So that is why.
But now he's stealing from the government. Now we're looking for money.
Okay, but back then, Rician, we're talking about 2000s. That was before he got in trouble. That would have killed his brand.
Yeah, because then everybody been like, oh, he's not real. He doesn't have all these black belts. He did not train in the Middle East in Krav Maga.
Yeah.
He didn't do all that stuff. He doesn't even know how to grapple. He doesn't know how to do this. He knows some basic stuff, and he got mowed over. And then people will be like, well, what else is he lying about? And what else is he going to say? And then on top of it, he would have been like, I slipped. I need to train longer. I've been out of shape. I haven't fought in a long time.
I think it's a case of not knowing when to be the student and the master too. It's like,
he wouldn't have been humble about it.
He's not a student or a master. That's the thing. Is that
he doesn't know when to be either, and doesn't want to be.
Just like that liquor store, that 7-Eleven, guys, where he stopped the girl from getting grabbed on the street and fought off these guys in ski masks.
Well, we got the 2-hour mark going. You guys want to do closing thoughts, Lars, or anything?
One thing I wanted to say is that, even though I have quite the disdain for Austin St. John, I think there is redemption, just like Laura said.
Oh, yeah.
There is a humanity to him.
I think we
what
all
it
feel
would
that
take
way.
in order for him to change, in my eyes, would be to be real with the people, to let us know, you know what? And the thing is that it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter to me if he was like, I only got one black belt under my belt, and that was when I was like 15 or something like that, and that's it. I'd be like, all right, cool. Or like, hey, I didn't even make it to the black belt. Like I studied martial arts, but that's about it. That's cool with me. Hey, I'm sorry about the Hitler t-shirts. I promise that won't ever happen. Like with Laura. It's like,
hey, transparency.
I want him to be transparent. I don't want him to be the douche. And if he can't be nice to people, then don't go to a con.
I agree.
Don't go to a con, because people see your pictures and everyone can see you're not happy. You're not smiling in your pictures. There are people that went to your line.
Yeah, they know he doesn't love this shit, man.
He doesn't. And that's the thing, is that I told him I was training to be a paramedic. I was training to be a firefighter. And he's the one, he didn't care. That's the thing about it. If he cared a little bit, like, that would have made the hugest difference. But the thing is, he doesn't show it. The minute that he does, like, I see a smile, I see caring, then I'll begin to look at him another way. But until then, I mean, there is redemption, but I don't see it.
And if I could say real quick, guys, what I was saying earlier when I was talking about Laura's connection, the answer to Austin is Laura.
Yeah.
Laura is the first person that broke through the other side, like the Doors talked about, break on through the other side. She broke through to the other side. She reached him like nobody else did. JDF's death couldn't stop it. Tammy couldn't stop it. Jenna couldn't stop it. Sky couldn't stop it. All the fans couldn't stop it. Amy Jo couldn't stop it. The kids couldn't stop it. His wife couldn't stop it because he put her in jeopardy when he signs that deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his kids. The one person that stopped it is Laura. Laura, do you realize how much power? You want to know why people like you? You want to know why people think you're great? Because you have a pure standing.
She's a gypsy.
It's just beautiful. That is awesome. That is blessed by God. You have that ability. Yeah. Don't let anybody tell you different. You have it. You took a man that had none of that, and you made him think about things, and you made him give answers he never gave anybody. That's powerful. You changed the game. You changed the game.
I think he was just trying to be funny too, bro. He was trying to be funny. If you watch the interview, he's like, oh, Hitler had some one-liners. It was also a joke that didn't really hit, and he kind of didn't really know what he was saying, and then he really thought it was a good idea somewhere. in between beers. So we get it, bro. You understand?
I get it. Just make
but
it right.
You shouldn't have just let it go and said, "Yeah, that was a stupid thing to say. I didn't mean it like that." And just it would have been let go. Yeah. It really would have been let go. We want to see you drop the ego the same way Laura grabbed you by your T-Rex arms, right? She gave you the bitch grip, like Henry would say, on the arms, and that was it, and it came right out. So now it's redemption time. JDF's gone. You're next in command. You wanted to be the Red Ranger. You wanted to be the guy. Now's the time. You can't just take it by taking pictures with Tammy and Jenna. It doesn't work that way. He didn't with you, bro. So you have to earn it. You have to earn it through the fans. And if he does that, regardless of the jail, and he serves his time and he comes out and it's morphin time and he does that, then I think he's gonna always be the Red Ranger, period, no matter what anyone says about him. So that's up to him. Having a reality show of him getting in shape and becoming, the Red Ranger again, Jason, like my Mighty Morphin Life. Why don't you honor him by using his formula? Go do a Red Ranger Redemption online reality series. Get yourself in shape. Put a power sword on your back with a cape and say thank you to Amy. Thank you to Amy, man, because she's the one with the return. You all get to eat for another at least 10 years. She delayed the death at least 10 years. Amy Jo, with the return, because if she didn't do that with the comic books, and then she's a movie director, she's on standby, man. And Amy has to direct this movie. I would love to have Amy do the Ninjetti movie, man. The Crane has to be involved because to me, she's the soul of JDF. Francis has a little bit of that, So the right people got to be together, man.
In closing your interview, what are you hoping people get out of this, and how do you hope to inspire people like JDF did for you?
Oh, good question. I just want people to know that no matter what happens, you're going to be okay. You can walk through it. It's hard. It sucks. Nobody will ever take that from you. It will suck. But you can get through it. You can walk through it and you can do hard things. And this life is not easy. There's a song I just thought of. I don't know if there's a band out of England, a pop band out of England called Take That. I hadn't heard of them till 2020, but they have a new album. And one of the songs is called This Life. And it's a great song. And one of the lines is, this life will take everything you have. And it's true. But the thing is, you can walk through anything and be okay. You have to know, like, when I'm getting ready, I've got an issue with this car out here. I was in a car accident, and I've got a car that's been sitting in my driveway for about a month now. Needs a bumper and all this crap. And I know that even though I don't have the car and I'm a little resentful of this, I know that whatever I need, I can be okay. That I can get what I need. I can go where I need to go. It's an annoyance, but you can do it.
Yeah.
Whatever is going on, you can do it. And you don't have to just fall down and not get back up.
Right.
I've, like I said, I've survived 2 suicide attempts. I thought I was done. I was done. I kept my suicide note. Actually, if you will let me pause, I'll go get it. And
we'll give our thoughts while you do that. That's fine. If you need to step out again.
Yeah.
Right.
So we can go around. We'll give our closing thoughts while you go wrap up. That's fine.
I'll be right back.
All right. So I'm going to segue. I'm going to take that from what she's trying to say. she's basically, you know, the way that we lost JDF is so important because they're gonna try to come for him, and they try to make what he did a weakness, right? But I see it. You guys are looking at it wrong. It's a strength. When I say don't Green Ranger yourself, it's not because he was weak. You know what I mean? He had a lot of weight on his shoulders, but it's hard to understand the pain. You know what I mean? You can't even tell when the person is in pain. So if you don't go to the ledge and at least peak or get to that point where you may not want to live anymore, maybe the person you're talking to doesn't understand you. You know, but I've been there before, so I know when I met JDF, I had looked and stood at the edge of the building and wanted to jump before. You know, so meeting him to me was talking me off the ledge. You know, when he touched my shoulder and we laughed about Hasbro, and you kind of saw what he was hiding, and he was still a superhero. And he appreciated it. That's what kept him going. So it's not a weakness; it's a strength. If you take the view from the edge, it really puts it in perspective, and you really got to be sure you're important. You matter. It's the voices, right? The voices in your head telling you you don't. You have to hold on to something and push through.
And
That's
with
it.
that, since we're going to be reading the note and we're talking all about this, I do want to preface, if anyone is having issues or needs to talk about it and you don't know how to reach out to somebody, please call 988. Please text 988.
Especially Laura, I'm sure you would love that. You know, she
It
likes
is
helping.
they are open 24 hours. They will have someone on standby at all times. I promise you they will help you. There are I've been low. I've talked to a therapist when I've needed it, and they've been able to get me help. So I definitely can vouch for reaching out. I promise those people know how to talk to you. They will listen. They will help you get in contact with somebody with the proper care. I attribute my wife to helping me out with getting that help. So again, if you don't have insurance, call 988, text 988. They will help you. Go ahead, Laura.
All right. Um, this was written in September of 2012. Yeah, I was in a very dark place, and again, I'm sharing this because this can share some hope, you know, and my message of you can get through anything, and it doesn't have to end where you think it's going to end.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk through it. And so I've not read this note in quite a number of years. So here it is. Dear world, I'm done. I'm tired of this pain that has plagued me the last 8 months of my life. The pain is constant. My body hurts. From the constant crying, I hate this world, this hell I'm living in. I just want it to end. I feel like there is no possible relief from this torture. My brain is tired of reliving the same nightmare over and over again. I feel like nobody will care when I'm gone. Not a soul. I will be saving them from the agony of knowing me. When I'm gone, it'll be a relief because no one will have to worry about me because I'm dead. I've decided tonight my life will end. I'm done. I refuse to live in this hellish world. I simply cannot take it any longer. So goodbye, world, and everyone in it, because my wrist will bleed, but I will have no pulse. I will be free tonight.
We're glad you're here, Laura, and we're glad that you're sharing your message. And we hope that Tammy will hear this and hopefully get in contact with you. And even if she doesn't, you're doing great things for the world, and we love you as a ranger. And you definitely earned the title of ranger. And yeah, I do want to preface it again. If you are having issues and you're having these thoughts, please call 988, please. And with that,
Well, I got a couple
Drew,
questions for
you can
Laura.
close this out.
Well, I
Okay,
got a couple questions
Oh,
for
go
Laura
ahead.
first, real quick. Why do you, I'm just curious because, like I said, I've been there before. Then you got the letters still, so obviously you made it past that point, right? Why do you keep the letters? Do you read them
Actually,
off? Do they make you feel better now that you're stronger and when you read them, or are you
um,
just?
so I didn't realize I kept it till a couple years ago. I found it.
Okay.
And I thought, well, now since I'm in a much better place,
Mm-hmm.
um, I will keep it for others, you know, to to know where exactly I was, to remember where I was, and to show other people like I get it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But the fact that I'm still here means that it doesn't have to end,
Right.
you know.
So it's like a remembrance of the moment, for you, a talisman, so to speak. Okay. That's all. I was just curious. Go ahead, Drew. Close it out,
Yeah, go
bro.
ahead. Close
All
this out,
right,
Drew.
guys, we're going to close it out here. We want to thank Laura for coming. I just want to say,
Awesome.
um, also, BetterHelp.com is also another place that's really good for
Mm-hmm.
therapists. I recommend a lot of people there. Um, it's been really good. I also am a big advocate for Code 4 counseling, which supports military, law enforcement, first responders. I help a lot with that. I do a once a year meeting with law enforcement, first responders, and fire in September, usually. It's be my
Mm-hmm.
third year working with these guys that are fantastic. This is real serious stuff,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
real serious things. I try to take my life technically twice when I was younger. And so I understand the things that you can go through sometimes in life and the challenges and the lifestyles and home lives and different things that you can encounter, which sometimes can really take you down a path. And so I really want to reach out and say, if you need anything, please reach out to the right people because it's very important and that you matter. You matter to the world, no matter what people say. Remember, the people that put you down are the people that are usually jealous of you. They don't want you to make it because you have something in you that is awesome, that can
Mm-hmm.
change the world and can be better. And they don't have it and they can't take it. They can't stare it in the face. They can't do
Mm-hmm.
it. And that's why they tell you
Yeah.
things like that. So you always have to remember, um, you know, that when you're going through those struggles,
Right.
every day. I can't be hard for me to show you guys, but I have a picture of me as He-Man as a kid in the 80s, and I have the original picture got destroyed. It's not completely destroyed, but it's torn up. And then I have one, a friend of mine that's a professional at repairing pictures, fixed for me. And
Mm-hmm.
every day I walk, it's in because I'm in my workout area. So every day I walk past it and say the person I don't want to be and the person I do want to be, because my father was the reason why that picture got ripped up and the reason why I bled that day. So it's a whole story about that. I'm not going to get because it's too long a story, but
Yeah.
um, I want to let everybody know that you definitely matter. And let's really put some praise on our good friend Laura because
Yeah.
she has overcome so much and she has reached someone that no one's been able to reach.
Yeah.
And this is really beginning of bringing humanity back in the world that everyone's looking for. And if anyone can do it, I believe Laura truly can. More
Definitely.
than
Mm-hmm.
myself, more than anybody else I've ever known. I've met a lot of people, seen a lot of stuff, but Laura has it.
Yeah, you could definitely fight for the brand, girl. You got some power, regardless. Energy doesn't lie. It has nothing to do with the vessel and the body, and then physical. It's all spirit. You said you're very spiritual. I believe that after that story today. So, it's maybe you're chosen to infiltrate and make change in other places people can't. So you never know. Never can count yourself out. You know, you don't know what God has planned. It's his will, you know, our hands at the end of the day. Don't take your life when it's not yours to take. That's going to be my final thought. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
God give you breath every morning. You get up and you fight, because there's other people who have it worse, and there's a lot of people who would like to be where you're at. You know, it could always be worse. It could always be better too. So as long as you have breath and you got air, like, you know, choose life. Choose life.
Yeah.
Just choose life, because you're gonna get down there or up there anyway at some point. So ride it out. It's gonna end at some point anyway. So even though it's hard, if you get to the end, it's over anyway. So don't speed it up. Enjoy yourself. Embrace it. Play in the rain. Don't just get wet. You know what I mean? So awesome show, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Last
And
thoughts, close it out.
yeah, I mean, we had a great show. We loved your story, Laura. Thank you for being our wonderful guest. Hopefully, we'll see
Stay
you
tuned
again
for
in
more,
the
you know?
future. And here's to you. And thank you so much. And before we close it out, I do want to give my sincere apologies to TJ Roberts, the original American Masked Rider. We ran out of time tonight. We'll get him on the air again soon. Thank you.
All right.
All right, guys. May the power protect you.
Always.